Hello everyone. My name is Rene, and this is Practical Activities course. And on this lecture, we are going to cover more about data manipulation in QGIS, and it's basically for the mobility zones. How to build mobility zones where most of the mobility will come on the ground. So my purpose is to introduce QGIS tools and share homework. Outcomes are you know how to manipulate vector data for a project. And first we have to filter students to school layer, and we have to filter those features where students number is less than or equal 45. So let's go to QGIS. I have already opened the main project, and let's take the students to school layer, right click, filter, and let's filter out by students number attribute, and students number attribute have to be higher or the same as 45. Let's test it. Okay, only 16 records or features stays on the map. So those features are the same we filtered out before, but when we used clipped areas as the input of the join by location, all those areas came to the layer what we got from the output. But now we have filtered out all those areas, and next step will be find the mobility zones. So we have to add a new shapefile layer. Let's add a new shapefile layer. Over here you see is the tool for new shapefile layers. We have to add a file name. So mobility zones 1. So and let's change coordinate system to Estonian coordinate system because we are going to use this, and geometry type have to be a polygon, and let's click OK. You see we have new layer appeared on the layers panel, and next we have to start filtering out from the areas for the school number 1 all the areas that are relevant for us. For that we have to go to students to school, and let's open attribute table, and let's see what we have to filter out. We want to filter out all those students where students number is higher than 100 in expression of students to number 1. So let's add a filter, and students to number 1. Has to be higher or the same as 100. And now we have two separate expressions. We have to join them. We have to put and in the middle. So let's test it, and only 2 features selected. Okay, and you see over here that we have 2 features or areas that meets our requirements, and also the number 1 school is over here. So now we can start modifying mobility zone 1 layer by open toggling mode. We have to start add polygon filters, but before that, before starting making those mobility zones, we have to add a snapping toolbar. And over here, let's make a right click and toggle in snapping toolbar. Otherwise, you won't see it. Snapping toolbar. Enable snapping toolbar. Use 12 pixels now we could start making those spatial zones. It's mostly just clicking on the corners of those zones, because they are so near to the school one. We don't have to make anything more than that. And when we want to end, we have to just click on the right button, and it asks for ID number. Let's put the 1. This is our first mobility zone. Now we want to add mobility zones for the second school. We have to change from the filter students to not school number 1, but school number 2. And let's test it. 2 rows again. And you see those areas. It's pretty much the same. We have to start adding or clicking on those corners, and we are making a new polygon by that. And just right click to end second one. And now let's go to the filter and change 2 to 3 and test only 1 row. And let's see, where is it? Okay, it is really the right thing what I have over here. We have a little bit wrong styling over here. We have to change the single labels, not value of the students to school number 1, but students to school number 3. You see only one area is meeting our requirements, so we have to add a new soon, and over here we're making this kind of thing. So those are the zones, mobility zones, where students from area of here will potentially trip to the school over here. And we covered this zone by just adding new polygons over the layer. So let's save the layers and let's toggle the editing out, and let's take the pen map tool. Now what we have to do is to try to figure out how to make a non-motorized traffic street network using those mobility zones, and knowing that the end of the street network has to be on the school. Yeah. So for that, when you have overlapping with many zones, you may want to use merging layers together. So you have to use union geoprocessing algorithm for that. But when you don't have that, you could just skip that part. And next we have to digitize our non-motorized traffic roads. And for that we have to make a new layer lines, and we have to add also an attribute of streets. It have to be a string type. So let's see how we could do it in cookies. First, let's make transparent a little bit the mobility zone layer and layer rendering. We can change the opacity. Let's make a new layer, a new separate layer. Non-motorized streets. It have to be a line string, and we have to change coordinate systems, and we have to change remove field, because we don't need this field, but we need street field. It have to be a text data. Add to field to list and hit OK. So now we have on the list non-motorized streets. And what we could do next is to add or toggle in KissOSM roads that we added before, and it helps us to make a street network. So there are some guidelines to make a street network. The street network should not ever end like a street where you can't go nowhere. It should be always just around, and you can always have a new way to go. Now you have to enable snapping, and you should start editing your non-motorized streets network by add line features. And you should watch what are the main streets and street network over here, to just choosing the right path from the zone to the school. And of course here you have to like make a non-motorized street network through the zones. And over here also, you don't have to cover all the streets, just try to figure out where are the main roads, and that's enough. So maybe I will start from the big street, just you don't have to be very exact because we are not transport planners. What we want to achieve over this course is to understand, this is the big street, understand how the data could help us. Let's make it a little bigger, more, and change the color. That's good. We want to understand how the data help us to find potentially the best mobility zones, so that we assume that students will use that street really, not we assume they will use it, but we have kind of data, we already manipulate this data in cookies, and now we are concluding or resulting some kind of street network based on the findings of the data manipulation, and that's the point of this course. So we also maybe want to add streets over here. But I want to say it again, we are not traffic planners, but we try to do our best to make sense of the data, and it's area street, and you should do this by your own reasoning, and this is something you have to bring to the next context or the another context also, maybe in your work life, to understand how we could use data, how valuable this data is, but we have to choose the right tools and we have to ask the right questions to use it. And that's for what this course is all about. So from here you have to do it by yourself, but of course add all those streets names where you put your non-motorized traffic streets, and don't do that like this is the ending of the street. It have to go all the way over here maybe, and this is let's see, V Street. What to do, what not to do is that you let this thing over here or leave this thing over here and just starting, I don't know, making the street from here. It have to end here or you have to continue from here. So next part is only you and your teammates, so I will skip and leave from here. Thank you for listening, and see you on the next week, where you have to present your findings, little bit talk about it. I will ask some questions maybe, and upload your Drive link to the Moodle. So upload all your layers, upload all your theory part to the Drive, and submit assignment to the Moodle. So I could and open the Drive folders. Thank you for attention, and see you.